Hi! So, Doctor Who. Hello everyone, welcome back. So today, we got some big news to talk about. Biggest news since it was announced that Peter Capaldi and Stephen Moffat were leaving Doctor Who. For obvious reasons. I'm sure it says it in the title, so I don't have to skip around it. Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall are now leaving Doctor Who. So let's talk about this. This video is going to kind of be in 4 sections. First, I'm just going to talk about literally what the news is. And then the 3 sections after that, I'm going to be kind of interpreting it. First, I'm going to be talking about what that means for Series 13 specifically and its storytelling. Then I'm going to be talking about what that means for Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall and the circumstances around them leaving. And then I'm also going to be talking about the Timeless Child and how that could be resolved. Because I'm sure I wasn't the only one that thought that that was supposed to take longer to resolve than one more series and some specials. So let's talk about this. So first off, let's talk about what the actual plan is. Now, last year, I think it was October, it was announced that Series 13 had begun production, and due to COVID, that delayed filming as well as slowed down the filming procedures, only 8 episodes were being produced. Now, at the time, people were like, okay, that probably either means we're getting an 8-episode Series 13, or we're getting 7 episodes and a special, because generally you get a special between each series. So it was either 7 episodes and a special, or 8 episodes, and maybe they make it between the series special while producing Series 14 or something like that, you know? And basically, especially earlier this week, and I didn't make a video covering it out of sheer laziness, really, but I'm glad I didn't now, because I would have said something that would no longer be true at all if I had made that video. But on Sunday, when it was announced that Series 13 would be one long story, a lot of people then definitely settled into the idea of, oh, this is 8 episodes. But now it's been revealed that actually 6 of those episodes are going to be Series 13. And the other 2 episodes are going to be specials, one of which is going to air on New Year's Day, 2022, and one of which is going to air in the spring of 2022. And then on top of that, they've ordered one more feature-length special, making the total episode count 9 episodes, that's going to air in the autumn of 2022 and will be the last episode for both Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall. So, what does that mean for Series 13? Well, a lot of people are a little upset, and I understand why. That Series 13 is only 6 episodes, because of course it's been a steady decline over the years. Originally it was 13, then when we got to Peter Capaldi's era it was 12, and then when we got to Jodie Whittaker's era it was 10, and then people were like, oh, only 8 episodes, and now it's only 6. But here's the thing, I'm willing to cut them a break just because it's circumstantial, so unless this continues past and we get 6 or 8 episode series after this, then I'm gonna be really upset. But for now, I'm okay with this. And here's the thing, a lot of people are like, how are they gonna tell this story in 6 episodes? They definitely can. Because, I mean, first of all, Chris Chibnall's strength as a writer, in my opinion, is his ability to tell stories over an arc, over multiple episodes. And you can tell that in his most popular TV series that's not Doctor Who, Broadchurch, where every series is an arc, where it's a multi-part story over however many episodes were in a series. So clearly that's like his strength, and Series 12 that had an arc over it was fantastic in my opinion. And I'm a fan of the Timeless Child thing, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. That won't really influence this video, my opinions on the Timeless Child arc. I'll just be talking about it more analytically, but just getting that out there. But either way, like Series 11, I assume the BBC wanted him to not have any story arcs because they wanted more like new audience members and wanted it to be more inclusive for them, which personally I think is a terrible decision because, as I said, Chris Chibnall is great at story arcs, and I think he can do this. And also, keep in mind, like, you could reduce Series 11 and 12 both to 6-episode miniseries, and both would work fine, especially Series 11, of course. Series 11, if you just take, like, Chris Chibnall wrote 6 episodes, one of which he co-wrote with Mallory Blackman, and if you just take those 6 episodes, you're not really losing a whole lot in terms of an overarching story. You got The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which of course introduces all the characters, the Ghost Monument, which is finding the TARDIS and also has some other nods to continuity. Then Rosa, which doesn't really connect to much, but it's, first of all, a good story. And second of all, it is kind of their first trip in the TARDIS. Then Arachne's in the UK, which introduces Jack Robertson. The Serenga Conundrum, you could trade for another episode because it's not really that great and it's not really structurally integral. I just said that because, again, it was just the simplicity of take all of Chibnall's episodes. So you could swap it out for Kerblam, or It Takes You Away, or Demons of the Punjab, or The Witchfinders, literally any other episode, really, honestly, because the Serenga Conundrum was not that great. But either way, then you got Battle of Ranscraft Coals, which brings everything together. So you could do that, and then with Series 12, if you look at it, it's very clearly a 6-episode arc. Spyfall Parts 1 and 2, Fugitive of the Judoon, The Haunting of Villa Diodati, Ascension of the Cybermen, and The Timeless Children in a neat 6-episode arc. So really, this 6 episodes is just going to be another series, except because of COVID, we're cutting out the one-off episodes that aren't going to be consequential, which, obviously, as Doctor Who fans, we love those one-off episodes that don't really contribute to the whole arc, because, like, that's kind of what Doctor Who is. That's what it was in the classic series, where almost none of the seasons had like an overarching story. So because of that, you know, pretty much every season was just self-contained stories for a whole season. So obviously we love that, but in this scenario, not having those, I can give them a pass as long as they bring them back next time. So there's that. Now let's talk about Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall. So Jodie Whittaker leaving is not super unexpected. You know, it's been the standard for 3 series for a long time. William Hartnell, the original actor to play the Doctor, he only was there for 3 seasons because, you know, his health. And then Patrick Troughton, who succeeded him, he only stayed for 3 seasons as well, just because he didn't want to stay on for longer than William Hartnell did. And then Peter Davison stayed for 3 because he thought Patrick Troughton was right about that and that they should only do 3. Then Sylvester McCoy, the 7th Doctor, he was only there for 3. He was supposed to do 4, obviously, because his last season doesn't end on a regeneration. But the show got canceled, of course. And then ever since the new series has come back with David Tennant, Matt Smith, and Peter Capaldi, all of them have had 3 series and some specials along the way. So it was like this thing of, okay, is Jodie Whittaker going to stay that whole time? Or is, like, she gonna go further? And considering the reduced episode count, I would have been fine with her staying on for, like, a 4th series. That would have been fine. And also, this is something that's important because I'm gonna come back to it later, from before The Woman Who Fell to Earth even aired, somebody who was associated with Chris Chibnall and some other projects he's worked on said that he had a 5-year plan, which presumably at the time was a 5-series plan. I don't think 5-year plan, I don't think that was true at all. Like, some people could argue, 2018 to 2022, that's 5 separate years. That's not a 5-year plan. But either way, like, the whole idea was that it would be 5 series, and Jodie Whittaker, people were thinking maybe she'll just be there for 5 series with Chris Chibnall and then they'll both leave, or maybe she'll just be there for 3 and then a new Doctor for 2 and then they'll hang on for another series with the next showrunner or something like that. But either way, it was kind of this question of, is she going to leave now? Is she going to leave the year after that? Year after that? It was just a question of that. And now it's revealed that it will be happening next year in the autumn special. The bigger shock is Chris Chibnall, who, again, mainly because people have been quoting this 5-year plan, myself included, for a long time as how long Chibnall is going to be in it. And a lot of the times a defense of the Timeless Child arc, which we'll get to. But basically, this 5-year plan isn't really true, and Chris Chibnall, in the press release regarding this news, said that from the beginning, he and Jodie Whittaker had made a pact that they were both going to be there for 3 series. Now, that could be a lie, because, like, you know, I'm sure all the Not My Doctors and Chibnall haters are all going to be bouncing on this saying, Chibnall was fired, he's lying, and that's possible, he could be lying, and obviously if he did get fired, or some other similar circumstance happened, which I'll get to in a second, then he wouldn't be saying that during the press release. And he probably, if he avoided it altogether, people would just assume he was fired. So he probably would be lying about it if that was true. So there's some credence to that. But again, there's no confirmation of that. I could see something with the specials being that earlier, like a month or two ago, I want to say it was. Time bleeds together, guys. But the Mirror came out with this article that claimed that Jodie Whittaker was going to leave after 2 specials that were going to come out next year. That there were going to be 2 specials next year, and that Jodie Whittaker was going to leave after the second one. It mentioned nothing about a 3rd special. It mentioned nothing about Chris Chibnall leaving. So they could have just gotten lucky to get kind of close to what happened, but you could also take into account that maybe they did have someone on the inside source, and that at the time that either wasn't happening at all or was only known to a few people in the BBC and not them. And at the time they were still just doing the 2 specials that were ordered as part of the 8 episodes. So it's possible, and this is rampant speculation, don't take any of this as fact, just as a possibility. It may be that Chris Chibnall was talking to the BBC about Series 14 or beyond or something like that, and then negotiations fell through, and they decided, okay, we're going to have 1 more special instead of the 2 that we had planned. That's when Jodie's leaving, and that's also when Chris is leaving. And it could be that that special is there just to take everything that Chris Chibnall had planned for 2 more series, for example, and put it together for like the Timeless Child or something like that. Which brings me to the Timeless Child, but before I do again want to stress that was all speculation. Nothing factual necessarily about that. But if that does turn out to be true, I guess I called it. But either way, let's talk about the Timeless Child. So again, I like the Timeless Child. I understand why people don't. I'll probably make a video at some point talking about why I think the Timeless Child is valid, probably closer to Series 13. But either way, there's this big question of how is he going to wrap that up in 1 series and a couple of specials, in 9 episodes, considering he took 10 episodes to set it up. But also at the same time, he kind of didn't. Because if you look at it, again, there was like a 6-episode arc that set up the Timeless Child. And of those, like 2 of them actually gave information about it, Fugitive of the Judoon and the Timeless Children. And keeping that in mind, like, you could theoretically in 9 episodes resolve all of that while leaving room. And the question about it really is that ideal? And I don't think it is ideal. I think it's ideal that he would explain more of it over time. But at the same time, it can still work. Especially, here's a bit of a theory as to what I think is going to go on with that. Either they're going to reveal that the Doctor isn't actually a Timeless Child or something like that, or they're just going to do a quick reveal of where the Timeless Child came from and call it a day. Or what I really think is going to happen is they're going to stick with the Doctor being a Timeless Child. Maybe they don't reveal that at all, because I have a feeling the Timeless Child was brought in to bring in some mystery, and they're probably not going to explain everything just because they want that mystery to linger. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the arc of the Doctor across these next 9 episodes is accepting the Timeless Child part of her. Because if you think about it, the Timeless Child doesn't retroactively change how the Doctor was. The Doctor was still a space hobo. And it's only now that might affect them, that they know that they're the Timeless Child. And so the Doctor has to make this decision over, well, is that going to affect me from here on out? Or I'm still the Doctor. I'm not changed by that. I'm still who I was before. There's just this part of me that I don't know about. That's not even really me. Because if you're the Doctor and you learned all of this, you know, you might think to yourself, instead of, oh, well, everything is different now, I'm a god. You might think, well, my entire life up until this point, I've just been some person, like, going around time and space. Why can't I just still do that? You know, because it's something that's out of their control and doesn't really change them as a person. So that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. If you're excited for Series 13, if you despise Series 13 and Chibnall and Whittaker, don't mention that, please. I don't want my comment section to be like a cesspool of hate. If you have legitimate criticisms of just like, I'm kind of worried that maybe 6 episodes isn't enough or something like that, by all means. But if you're just gonna hate on Whittaker and Chibnall because you think that they've ruined Doctor Who with their wokeness, get out of here. You can leave a like and watch maybe some of my videos, but don't comment that in my comment section, please. But yeah, besides that, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'll be back soon. I'm filming a couple other videos today, actually, and within the next week, I'm gonna have a new fix or pitch video out related to the Suicide Squad. Little sneak peek there, and I might have a video or two along the way before that. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe for videos on the franchises you love, and I'll see you next time. Bye.